It's been one of those days. I have to get something off my chest. And so I figured I would come here. They say this is part of the Genesee River. But I did fact check this with the Earth herself. One of the women that I actually love and care about. She told me it's the Shenandoah River. And that this really is not New York. This is really Virginia. And New York was never ever made a state. So all the labeling of the state of New York is such a fraudulent network of shit that those people were actually quarantined to a little island for good and valid reasons. So she is one of my favorite females, Mother Earth, okay? I love and I adore her for many, many reasons. But today, I'm blowing off some steam on some other women, okay? So, behind me, just a few minutes ago, you might have seen like a white sign that's sitting on this tree posted. It says, "Attention, invasive species are present in this water body." Really now? How fitting for me. I mean, shit. I tend to make friends with just about anything except human females. They just get underneath my skin for some reason. So, I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's like this white stuff floating. It's white. I want to say it's pollen. It could be all the, see it floating there? Everywhere. In the river. Could very well be pollen. Could very well be, all these trees to pollinate, they have to release their seeds and allow them to travel quite a distance to places to gain footing so that that's how they breed, Did you know that about trees? Trees and plants. So today was just, a day where I wanted to, I controlled myself, okay? To some degree, I can't control it all the way. So let's take a look at our environment, shall we? Just to put things into perspective. So we have these events going on. The events of, let's talk about for a split second, the mass killings in Buffalo involving the Tops supermarket. Okay, so we have that. That's highlighted, very present, okay, in the atmosphere. There's tension in the atmosphere related to that event that occurred because it was very racially motivated, as they say. It could be something else, but for right now, we're saying, or everyone is saying, it's racially motivated, okay? On top of that, here in New York, our homicide rates are like off the Richter scales, okay? They cannot control them. They have no way to manage them. And it begs many, many questions about the skills and the abilities of what we call law enforcement, all right? On top of that, the state of New York does not show, as it should, a true representation of missing and endangered individuals, okay? If they have a database, it's not combined. They're not feeding all the information to a common source like NAMUS, NAMUS.gov. They're not doing that, okay? And so When we talk about people just randomly coming up missing and dead, we have to, because we're human, we have to put a lot of thought and emphasis around what's going on, okay? It's called safety and security of your own. So we have that going on. We have the knowledge, although not the presence, of what happened in Texas with the elementary school. And I, for one, am very disturbed and bothered by that. I have grandchildren. Okay? I really have a soft spot in my heart for little kids and animals. Once you're an adult, I will, like, you know, kind of not judge, but look at you differently because you're not innocent anymore, okay? So we have that going on. My thoughts around all that, it really, 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 really does bother me. Not only for the children that perished and their families, but you can't help but think about the little kids that are now forced to go to that school knowing that event happened and what trauma is going to come about because of that for them. I mean, that really, really bothers me. Like, I have to, I cry about this stuff. So today, I've said it before, I'm homeless. I'm even though I am a military veteran, I hate to say I'm a military veteran, okay? I I don't look at the United States like I used to. I don't look at God like I used to. I don't believe in God. I I don't look at the world the same after all the shit that I've been through. I have been through a lot of stuff. And it all started to go deeply downhill in 2015 when a particular person moved next door to me. Okay? So I lived, my basement got flooded. It was not due to me or anything that I did. The village was testing water. It was in their paper. They hired contractors to do a push to determine where the red water was coming from. What was causing red water to come out of the faucets in everybody's houses. They did a push. The push broke pipes in my house, in particular, in and around the water meter, which is a public piece of equipment, and flooded my basement. They would not remedy the situation. They refused to remedy the situation. It should have been remedied like immediately. They didn't do that. Instead, they created laws, village laws, to protect them. So they knew they weren't going to remedy the situation. So to protect them, they created all these new laws, okay, that went into effect right after that, okay? We're talking just pure ignorance, okay? I had shut down my business. I worked my ass off to get to that point where I was a successful business owner, and I had to shut it all down. I lived 4 years with no running water, no electricity, and no heat in my house. I froze my fucking ass off, okay? I lived off $192 a month in food stamps. I was dehumanized by the village of Mount Morris in New York. And then to top it all off, the little Miss Twit next door that moved into her grandparents' house was dead set on bringing me down to my beckoning knees, like she was running some rallying contest with her friends, and wouldn't stop complaining about me and my dogs until finally I got beat up on the 4th of July in a Wegmans parking lot by one of her friend cops. Okay, it was all planned and orchestrated 1 year in advance. Then they destroyed all my personal property, including all the things that meant everything to me, gifts given to me by other people. They're sick, they're twisted, and I would never recommend anybody to ever relocate to Livingston County, New York, okay? So let's get to the crux of what's bothering me today, shall we? Because it's all on the same lines, all right? I am homeless. Not by choice, but because it's where people put me. Nobody intentionally becomes homeless. Nobody who has already completed high school, completed 2-degree programs, worked 20 plus years outside of their own business, designed their own business, and became successful and took all those certification courses to maintain certification in the field in which they want to work, to become homeless. All those years paying bills. Do you think I did all that work to become homeless? Absolutely not. It was orchestrated by like-type minds. And I'm going to give you an example of what happened today. Today is it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in Henrietta, New York. There is clouds in the sky. I will rotate myself. I don't know if you can see the clouds or not because of my camera, but there's clouds in the sky. There's a light breeze. It feels good. It's about probably now, it's close to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It's probably 72 degrees out. Earlier, it was not 72 degrees out, okay? Today, like any other day, I'm dashing. And so I have to stop and pick up an order. One of my best orders, the things I love to do the most, which is pick up pet supplies. I like to say dogs delivering for dogs, and I like it, okay? So do my dogs. So we often pick up these dogs working for dog type deliveries. It's our favorite deliveries. So I have to run into the pet store, pick up the order, and come back out to my car and go deliver it. No problem. I park my car, back it up underneath a set of trees. I do not crack my windows, but I roll them down, and I leave my vehicle unlocked, okay? My wallet was even in my car, all right? Left everything right there. My dogs had water, they had bowls of water, and I ran in to pick up the order. I was in the store maybe 5, but definitely less than 10 minutes, okay? I come back out, and it's such a flashback of all the bullshit that I went through in Livingston County that, I had everything. I had to control myself to the nth degree on this one because I really wanted to reach my hand into this vehicle and smack the shit out of this bitch, okay? So I come out with a cart. I have 2 bags. One's heavier, and I have a bag problem. So I'm pushing in a cart. I no more than open up my door and put the stuff in, and I turn around, and they get their windows rolled down, and they said, they started in on me. Don't you think it's wrong for you to leave those dogs in there with this heat? And I had to take a little breath because I knew I was going to snap. History has a way of repeating, and you really have to be careful running your mouth to people because one little thing can trigger and set off somebody, okay? So, and since you don't know their history, but you just want to feel powerful, mouthing off to somebody, these were 2 older ladies, one my age and the other one appeared to be her mother, okay? So we're talking 55 and older people that should know better than this shit, okay? So I turned around and I'm like, the windows are rolled down, they have water, they're parked under a tree. I was only in there for a couple minutes. Well, you ought to be ashamed of yourself leaving those dogs in there. I could not control myself. I said, do you want to know what the biggest problem is with the United States of America? It's meddling fucking bitches. Why don't you mind your own business, go about your own day, and shut your fucking mouth? And so they just looked at me like they didn't expect that, but I have 0 tolerance for women. Like I can count on one hand the women that I would lay my life down for. Those are my grandchildren, my mother and my grandmother, and that's it. Okay? The rest of them, unless you're an animal, an insect, or a reptile on the female side of the fence, do not fuck with me, okay? I have had enough of meddling fucking bitches in my life. Okay? I'm done with it. I was born female, I realize that. But enough is enough with this stupid, meddling, fucking bitch shit. This is why women's rights have gone too far. You need to shut your fucking mouth. So as they're, backing up, gawking at me like, couldn't believe that I snapped at them, I said, why don't you go wreck somebody's house? You like running your mouth so much, you little home wreckers. Why don't you go focus on wrecking somebody's house? And they just drive off. So I take the car, I always bring it back to the store, not leave it in the parking lot so somebody, can't find a parking space because there's a cart there, or, it accidentally rolls and hits another vehicle and damages somebody's vehicle. I take the time to walk the cart back to the store. I get in my car and there's a note attached to my wiper blade. So not only were they snooping around my car, but they touched my car. If we were in Germany back in the day when I served in the military and you were out snooping around and touching people's vehicles, there were car bombings. You'd be blown up, you dumb, stupid bitches. And in today's climate, when we really don't know who lives here in the United States, you might avoid touching other people's cars. So here's the note. Why would you leave dogs in a hot car? Well, first of all, it's not hot. Okay? To be hot, all you would have to do is put your hand on my car. If it's not warm or hot to the touch, it's not hot. But you're too dumb. You're a dumb female. You have no brains before you run your mouth. So you wouldn't know that. Okay? And here's the other dumb shit. Right on the back of this piece of paper, it's their receipt from yesterday. They made a purchase at a store on 6/2 at 3:06 p.m. And guess what? I got all their credit card information. Now, they're lucky it's me and not somebody else that is not going to put up with their shit. Because this little bit of information that you leave behind while you're running your fucking mouth, you might end up dead somewhere. In an alley, maybe in the back seat or in the trunk of somebody's car, because you can't shut your fucking meddling mouth. I don't like women. I got a long history of all the reasons why I do not like women. I will have a hard time being reintroduced to the workforce after all the shit that I went through in Livingston County with those catty, insanely sick, twisted bitches that just can't get over themselves. Power tripping, hungry bitches, okay? I'm gonna have a hard time being re-engaged into the workforce and being forced to work around women after all the shit that I've been through, okay? I don't like them. I have yet to meet a woman that is not some catty, stupid, dumb bitch meddling in everybody's business, not their own. They can't focus on anything to do some self-improvement for themselves, but they're so critical of everybody else. But in all reality, they're the ones that need to be fixed. No different than that twit that moved into her grandparents' house next door to me. Nothing for nothing. I liked her grandparents. I used to mow their lawn for them. I used to shovel snow for them. I used to stop over and have coffee with them. I was always helping them some way. And then she moves in. And then from 2015, I'm pretty sure she killed her grandfather to get a power trip out of it. She was nothing but riding my ass, rallying up like-minded, sick, twisted freaks just like herself to come down hard on me and make up stories, spread their fucking lies and rumors, until finally it all came to a head when her little buddies in the Livingston County and local police force helped her. And then I go to get a sub at Wegmans and I get beat up by a cop. My teeth are rearranged, my nose is broken, and my jaw is broken. What are you going to do about it? You can't sue these people. They're protected under the laws they create to protect themselves from what they do. There's nothing you can do. We can only hope and pray there's like a magnitude of war. A magnitude of a war that fucking lowers this country to the brink of last known distinction to wake these people up. And in the meantime, I'm going to try to make friends with these invasive species here in the water, because I'm sure they can decipher, even with a fingerprint, these two meddling bitches that just could not go about their daily business without giving me a hard time. And maybe they can show up at their house. And maybe they can do something. I mean, karma is karma. And talk about karma, little Miss Jessica Rollison. I mean, after all, you have to realize that all the shit that you've done to hurt other people so you could power trip yourself. Well, that's a ricochet. That's what happened to your father. And so I strongly believe that women, there's a lot of them out there. And some of them, not all of them, because there are some that can control themselves, but the majority of them cannot. But the ones that just can't shut their fucking mouths, they deserve to get beat up every once in a while. And since these two ladies triggered me back to Jessica Rollison, I often, I have to be honest, I often hope that she finds some guy that's a woman beater. And I hope that he puts like a metal object in her mouth and beats the shit out of her, knocks all of her teeth down her throat, and she chokes on her own teeth and dies. Just to shut her up. Like, I never did anything to her, and I thought her grandparents were like the tops. I was always helping them out. And then little Miss Bitch comes along, and she just wouldn't get off of it. As if they were going to die someday and leave some inheritance to me because I mowed their lawn. Come on. Like, think about it, dumbass. So women's rights have gone too far. If you're a man out there, I would advise you to please. I just heard a voice. I want to make sure my dogs are okay. If you're a man out there, start giving women in your family some advice. And here's where it starts. Shut your fucking mouth. Or you're going to end up dead in today's climate somewhere. So shut your meddling fucking mouths.